Good afternoon, folks. My name is Jonathan Smith. Today I will be interviewing one of our national figures. He's well respected by everyone. Please give a round of applause for our United States of America's very own President Abraham Lincoln.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you, Mr. Lincoln? So, with your recent victory over the Civil War against the South, I've written up some questions that I'd like to ask you and other people are curious about. The first question I'd like to ask you is, when the war began, 4 more southern states joined the Confederacy States of America. So, I imagine that seeing an important state such as Virginia leaving, it must have been something really hard for you. What was going through your mind at that time?
Yeah, it was pretty hard. Virginia was a really popular and big state, and I admired, but they have great generals, and one of the generals was General Robert E. Lee. And I asked him if he wanted to join the Union, but he refused because he didn't want to fight against his own state. And after that, I just completely turned my attention to the border states, Kentucky, Delaware, Maryland, and Missouri, and I wanted them to stay in the Union. So when I published the Emancipation Proclamation, I only banned slavery in the rebellious states, not the border states. So that's why I wanted to keep them.
Well, what was going through your mind when you heard the news that Fort Sumter in South Carolina was attacked of April of 1861?
It wasn't unexpected. There were signs of the seceded states going in conflict with the northern states, and 7 of the Confederate states, they wanted to take our forts, but we didn't allow them to. Because why would they take our forts? They're being rebellious. We don't give them anything. We'll fight for them. We'll fight against them. We'll win.
Well, with those rebellions in the South, how long did you think it would last when the war broke out?
Like everyone else, no one expected it was going to last for 4 years. I personally thought that we would have immediate victory because we had more resources, we had more money, more people, more of everything. And with these numerical advantages, we assumed that we would have had immediate victories in the battlefield. But look at now. It's been 4 years, and we recently won the Civil War. And even though we lost about 600,000 men, the North became victorious, and now our future goal is to reform the North and the South to preserve the Union again, to have a better Union.
Well, you did lose a lot of troops, and it's a well-known fact that you went through many different commanders. I bet that was pretty frustrating. Can you tell us about that experience?
Yes, it was really frustrating, a lot of confusion. I've gone through many generals during the war, and surprisingly, one of the generals it's weird because I hired him twice, and I fired him twice. And his name was General McClellan, and he wasn't a general that I was looking for, he wasn't willing to fight, and I don't like having a general with that attitude. So I fired him, and I got a new general, and I promoted him. And that general's name was General Ulysses S. Grant. And because the reason why I promoted him was because he was willing to fight. He was willing to fight to the very end, because he knew that we were going to be victorious at the very end.
Well, since you mentioned Grant, how was he as a general?
He's well respected by many people in the Union. I truly respect him, and I truly admire his tactics. And like many generals, he won battles and he lost battles, but he won really crucial victories in really crucial battles. I mean, and one of the battles was the Battle of Shiloh in Tennessee, and another battle, which is really important, was the Battle of Vicksburg in Mississippi. And this is where we took control of the Mississippi, and our plan was to constrict the Confederacy. Our plan was called the Anaconda Plan, and it was to constrict the Confederacy so they would be limited in areas. And Grant was a true war hero. I respect him a lot. I admire him, and who knows if he becomes president? I don't know. I could see that, but yeah, really good choice for him.
So when people talk about you, they almost always mention the Emancipation Proclamation of January 1863. Can you explain why you announced the slaves' freedom at this particular time?
Well, the beginning of the war, it was North versus South, and my goal was to reunite the Union, preserve it, make a new Union. But in the North, people viewed the South had a morally repulsive system of slavery, and I wanted to take advantage of that. That's why I issued the Emancipation Proclamation, to get rid of all slavery in the rebelling states. and though, and I knew that this would be a great advantage because without slavery, the South isn't anything. They're on their own. But I didn't issue the Emancipation Proclamation because, like, at that time, I waited. I wanted to wait for the right time to issue it. And luckily, after the battle in Antietam, I issued it, and I wouldn't say it was a big victory because it didn't really free slaves, but it was something important that I would like to address. That one step closer to getting rid of slavery. Let's say the most.
Okay. Well, if the proclamation didn't free any slaves within the Confederate States, why was it such a big deal?
It was a big deal, and when the Civil War started, my goal was to preserve the Union, to bring back the slaves, bring back the slave states into the Union, the rebelling states, and that was my goal. But if I had to free the slaves in order to bring back the rebelling states, I would do it. And that's what I did. I issued the Emancipation Proclamation to free all slaves in the rebelling states, and the South wasn't too happy about that. But it helped us a lot because the South, like I said before, the South is weak without the slavery, and it also gave a picture. It also pictured the South as a bad guy, and pictured us as a good guy. North versus South, good guy versus bad guy, and this picture was seen by Europe, especially the UK, since the South was trading with the UK a lot. But now, luckily, the UK never intervened in our war because of the picture. So luckily, that helped out a lot.
How about the Gettysburg Address? That too is something that everyone associates you with.
The Gettysburg Address was very short, but it summarized my understanding of the purpose of the war, and it came from my heart. I really meant what I said.
What's your view on slavery?
I believe it's an unqualified evil to the Negro, to the white man, and to the state. There's no moral right in connection to a man making another man a slave.
Well, what was your goal during the Civil War?
My goal was to preserve the Union, to reunite it, to bring back all the rebellious states into the Union. And if I could save the Union by not freeing slaves, I would. If I could save the Union by freeing all slaves, I would. If I could save the Union by freeing some slaves and leaving others all alone, I would also do that.
Tell me about your debates against Douglas, because one of your topics was slavery, but you also mentioned equality. What was your view on equality?
In my fourth debate in Charleston, Illinois, I was against my opponent, Stephen Douglas, and he accused me of supporting Negro equality. And although I was in favor of bringing social and political equality to all men, whites and blacks, I opposed them in having the right to vote, and holding office, being in juries, and having interracial marriages. But I do believe that all men, white and black, have the right to improve their life in society and to enjoy their fruits of labor. Lee, and I appointed him to be my general for the Union, so we could just like crush the South because they were being rebellious. But he refused because he's from Virginia and he didn't want to fight against his own country. And after that, I just immediately turned my attention to the border states: Kentucky, Maryland, Delaware, and Missouri, because I didn't want them to go to the Confederacy. I didn't want to, even though they're slave states, I wanted them to go to the Confederacy. I said I wanted them to go to the Confederacy.
Stop. Well, since you mentioned Grant, how was he as a general?
Well, he was well respected, and I admired his tactics a lot. And he was a perfect choice to be the general. Like General Ulysses Grant. He is like any general. They lose battles and they win battles, but he won really crucial battles. The Battle of Shiloh in Tennessee and the Battle of Vicksburg in Mississippi. And Vicksburg was so critical because that's where took control of the Mississippi River, which our plan, or if you guys remember, the Anaconda Plan was to take control of the Mississippi River to construct the Confederacy, and we got that. And he is just Grant, really good general. I can't stop talking about him. He's such a good general, and I made a really good choice to appoint him as the.
We have to go again.
So when people talk about you, they always mention.
Well, what's your view on slavery?
I believe it's an unqualified evil to the Negro, to the white man, and to the state. There is no moral connection to a man making another man a slave.